Thank you so much for being here, Ottillia, or
Thank you
OT.
for having me.
Yeah, of course. Honestly, I remember back when we first met was at the Do Your Part Celebrity Game Media Day.
Yes.
And you came in and I was like, girl, this girl's beautiful. So I told you, I was like, girl,
Thank
you're
you.
beautiful. And then after we're talking about, at the moment, I was just like, your body, by the way, just so you know. So like I was just complimented it and you're like, yeah, this is what I do for a living. So tell me more about
Right.
that. How did that journey come about?
First of all, I do remember that day really well, and I remember like gravitating towards you for some reason, like maybe just like your energy or something. But
thank you.
it was really really nice meeting you, and then like playing with you in the celebrity game too was super fun.
Yes.
So yeah, it is what I do. I'm a certified personal trainer, and I've been doing that like full time now for I would say like maybe a year and a half. Before transitioning into that career, I was like working at in an office at Sick Kids actually in human resources. And
I have a minor in HR. So.
yeah, it's I don't really know. It's kind of interesting how like my life led me to HR, but I wouldn't say that like I never aspired like as a kid. I'm like I want to get an HR. Like that was never like a goal I had. If anything, I was like wanted to be a doctor or something. So yeah, but I was working in HR, and I woke up every morning not really like loving what I did and looking forward to going to work, even though like I worked at such a great place. Like people would always tell me like, wow, like you work at Sick Kids, like that's amazing, and I'm like, yeah, but it just wasn't
really well.
yeah,
with all these things.
right.
Yeah.
So it just like even though I had such a good job, like I wasn't really happy with what I was doing. Like I would literally sit at my desk and like write little post-it notes of like all the workouts I wanted to do in the gym.
Yeah.
Like when I got home, it was really, and all I thought about was like, oh my god, I wish I was just spending my entire day in the gym. Like it's kind of crazy. Like I don't know how I would make it work or how I would make money doing that, but I'm like that's like what I wish I was doing instead of being here.
And look at you now.
Yeah. So then yeah, it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
And I was able to make it work.
Was it a leap of faith in the sense where like you know, quit your job and you just ended up doing what you wanted, or tell me more about that part of your...
So it was like a series of life-changing events that kind of
unfolded,
caused me to transition. So first off, I kind of met someone who's still a really good friend to me, and she is an entrepreneur. She's very successful. She has her own businesses. And I got really close to her, and she kind of like really saw me for who I was. And she literally looked at me one day and she's like, Oti, you have to quit your job.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no way, like are you crazy? Like I'm not a risk taker. Like if there's any risk, like I would rather like do anything other than do that, like take that risk. Like I'm so scared when it comes to taking risks or taking gambles. So I was like, no way, like I could leave my secure 9 to 5. And she's like, no, but you love training, you love the gym, you love working out. And she's like, you're gonna change someone's life one day if you do that. And I was just like, I've never looked at it like that. You know what I mean? She's like, you're gonna change someone's life. Like someone is out there waiting for you. And I was like I don't know. And like it took me a while. Like even though like she literally told me like quit your job and like don't go back the next day. And I'm like, I still went back. Like I couldn't do it. It took me a while. So that was like a major thing though. Like she kept being that ear, like being that friend pushing me. Like she believed in me more than like I believed in myself. Like I thought I could never do that, right? So so that happened, and then during that same year my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and it was really really hard to see her like literally like deteriorating, right? So I decided that I had to take a leave from work because she was only getting worse. And like I couldn't like be at work and my mom is like, you know, without me, right? So like really it's just like my mom just has me and my brother, so like, and I'm the older one, so I knew what I had to do. So I took a leave from work, and so as those months were going on, like my mom was spending a lot of time in the hospital, and like I said, she was just, you know, her condition was only getting worse, and like we knew that she had like a little bit of time left, right? So I don't know, like I think it maybe was like I had to distract my mind with something, but like I'm like, okay, like this is a great opportunity, I have some time right now, like while I'm taking care of my mom, like let me get my certification, like my personal training certification while I have this time off. So I used that time, like I was literally like sitting in the hospital with my mom and like with my book, like studying, right? So it was, for me, I know, like when I look back on it now, I know it was a distraction, right? Like just something to occupy my mind. So I did that, and I eventually like I got my certification, and then my mom passed away, And it was like extremely hard, and like even though like I knew it was gonna happen, it's like, you know, it doesn't make it real until it actually happens, right? And just like, even though like death is super, like, it was so hard, when I look back on it now, like I know the hardest part was like watching her suffer. So to know now like that she's in peace and that she's no longer suffering, like it brings me like comfort. But just like that whole phase of my life was very traumatic, still traumatic to this day, right? Still something like I'm processing and dealing with. But that's what led me to understand, like that was like a big sign for me that, you know what, like
this is why you're doing what you're doing.
This is what I'm doing. Life and death is so real.
Yep.
Time is more valuable than money, because we only have such limited time on this earth, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what, like I'm not going to waste my time doing what I think is like the right thing to do. And like I think like also like I was working in an office because like I thought that's like what my family wanted me to do. Like it's a safe, but like, I understand, like it was safe, like my family knew I went to school, like I went to university. Like even before I got my HR degree, I got psychology and sociology at UFT, right, like my undergrad. So it's like I had all this education, right? So it's like my family expected that I was going to be doing something, like I guess what I was doing in an office. And then I'm like, oh well, guess what, I'm not going back to work in an office, I'm going to be a personal trainer. And like my family was like, what? Like, are you serious? And they're like, you're gonna lose all your benefits, like you're leaving a good job. And I was like, I just still did it. It's still hard. Like my grandma, like she's like Italian, like 'cause I'm half Italian, and she looks at me, like I'll go and visit her and she'll be like, why don't you go back to like your office job at the hospital? I'm like, no, like for now, like I'm doing this, and like it's working for me. And it's even like now when I look back, I can't believe that I'm still doing it. Like I thought that like I would last like a couple months and like have to go back and get like a regular job, but like it's still allowing me to like, you know, sustain myself, and like I'm happy with what I'm doing, which like it's not that I wasn't happy before, but like now I actually feel like fulfilled, right?
That's
like
amazing.
I would sit in an office before and feel like I really had no purpose,
or you're sitting there day to day just trying to figure out, is this for me? Do I want to do this? No, I want to do something else.
Right.
First of all, thank you so much for sharing that. Like it just obviously reflects how strong you are and how much you know you've overcome to get to this point in your life. And like I said, you know, you're the body goals queen, and everybody looks up to you for how you've gotten to your physique, but also, you know, your talent as a personal trainer. So congrats on all of that. And again, thank you for sharing that, because that is huge to share. What was it that kind of, you know, made you steer in that direction of fitness? Like obviously, you know, you like training, and that was your friend that kind of pushed you into it, but was there one specific moment that was like, you know what, I'm gonna get into fitness, I'm gonna be a personal trainer?
Absolutely. So it actually has to do with still my family. So before my mom was sick, my dad was sick. So my dad had a stroke when I was 19 years old. He didn't take care of himself. So like honestly, like just witnessing like the importance of health, like, and taking care of yourself. Like my dad, like he didn't eat properly, like he didn't work out, like he didn't even take his medication like that the doctor prescribed him. So like honestly, like just seeing like how scary it was to have like all these health problems, I'm like, that's not gonna happen to me, like at that point. And that was like a lot, like that was a really really long time ago. And I'm like, you know what, I need to eat good, I need to work out. Like I didn't even want to use the microwave, I was scared of everything that could harm me.
And it's true. And speak more on that. You know, you took that leap of faith. You decided this is my time, and obviously time and everything happens for a reason. And unfortunately, it had to do with you know, taking care of your mother, and it's a sad time to kind of be in that position. Who was it, or was there something that kind of supported you in that sense to get through those times, or was it just fitness, or was there some outlet that kind of pushed you towards where you are? Right.
So aside from that one friend that really pushed me, there was honestly like, it was just fitness. Like it's crazy because I was in a relationship for like a really long time, and at that same time is when I decided to leave and get out of that relationship, because it really showed me like that person wasn't there for me, even though like it was like the hardest time in my life. So I'm like, you know what, I don't need anyone. So it was literally just like it was just like that one friend, that one good friend that pushed me in that direction, and like going to the gym as my own therapy where I could be alone and like be in my own head.
And that's hard, like being in a relationship where you hope that they'll be there for you, one, and two, like they're your support, like your back, like your spine, like they're the ones that's supposed to be there for you, but they're not. and it's just hard to deal with that. So like amazing that you had to, you know, overcome all this.
Thank you.
So obviously all the stories and journeys that you spoke about have played an influential part to your life, but would you say that there are specific experiences that have shaped you or got you to this point?
So aside from the ones I talked about, I guess like just seeing people close to me being successful, doing what they love, and achieving their goals in a way that, you know, makes them happy. Like I just see that possible for myself more so now that I have people like that in my circle. Prior to, like, you know, working in office, I didn't really have like entrepreneurial friends. Like all my friends kind of just did the same thing that I did. Yeah. So definitely witnessing other people make it has like really inspired me.
And it's great that we're a blessing and a curse, but having the social media world around, it's just like, ooh, okay, you can see people doing it and making it, and you're like, ooh, I can too. But then you also look at, oh, why am I not there? Or so many things that kind of come in your mind. And have you had any specific experiences that you'd like to share that kind of had you thinking, either feeling motivated to get to that point, or were you ever comparing yourself to in a moment where you didn't feel like you were getting to where you want to be?
Like with social media? Yeah. Oh my gosh, all the time. Like there are so many times where I feel like I could take like a social media like cleanse or detox and just get off of it, because like I make sure that I follow accounts that make me feel inspired. Same. And like even like there's some friends that don't necessarily make me feel inspired. Like now I'm just like muting their stuff because like I can't see it anymore. Like it's not good for like my mental processes and stuff. It's very toxic. So like there are a few people who I follow on social media that like, do inspire me, but I would say honestly it's really bad, but majority of like the social media stuff, like it's so distracting. Of course. So distracting, so time consuming. Post and I'm out. Yes. Like. and then I find myself like like you said, like I'll find myself watching someone or seeing like where they're at right now, not knowing their journey, and I'm like, oh my god, like why isn't that me? Like why am I not there? So like the only reason like I haven't really took a cleanse or detox is because I feel like it's so important for my business and my brand that I have to like upkeep right now. Yeah. But one thing I'm working on is just controlling my time and how I use it. Balance,
for sure. Now, you know, we obviously spoke about the leap of faith, being the 9 to 5 and whatnot, and being a huge face on social media. What is it like dealing with those that are kind of backlashing at you, or, in lack of a better word, haters? Right. Yeah. How is that? Because I know how it goes. Yeah. But I want to hear your side of that.
To be honest, like I'm so surprised that I have like maybe I have like I obviously have haters, but like they're not visible to me in the sense that like a lot of people leave mostly very positive feedback and comments on the stuff that I post or like DM me. Like I have very few negative comments or feedback, and like if it is, it's like someone who I probably don't know. Like I'm sure people talk about me without like behind closed doors or like on their own and say maybe not nice things, but like I'm so surprised at how like everyone on my social media, like the audience, like they just like always positive things, and like that makes me feel even better, and like they motivate me and inspire me to keep doing what I'm doing.
Wow. Now, give me an idea of how your daily schedule is, or like throughout the week. I know you're always at the gym. Every snap or story that you post, she's always at the gym. But how is your schedule?
So in the mornings, early afternoon is when I usually wake up and I have a lot of time to myself, because I usually sometimes I'll have some clients in the mornings here and there, but when I'm at the gym for like the chunk of time, it's usually in the afternoon and evenings. So like I'll wake up, I'll make sure like I read something that makes me feel inspired, because if I don't, like I wasn't doing that before, and it was like I felt like so uninspired for a certain amount of time. So I make sure I'll read, I reply to all my emails, reply to any messages that I need to.
You're good with that, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I could be better, but and then I'll prep myself for like my day, make sure I have like, because one of the things, like one of my goals right now is making sure I'm eating in a caloric surplus. I want to like gain muscle, and that's like another job in it by itself. So I have to make sure I have all my meals like for the day in, and then like I'll prepare my clients' workout guide programs for what we're doing for that evening once I see them, and that's about it. And then I usually leave the gym super late, like really, really late, because after I train my clients is when I want to work out. And that can be sometimes as late as like 9 or 10 o'clock. People will always see me working out so late, and they're like, how do you do it? I'm like, I'm so used to it at this point.
And you also have no choice but to do it.
Yeah, and like I feel like if I don't work out, like if I miss a workout, even though like sometimes I'm super tired, and obviously I have my rest days, like I'll miss it. But the days that I know I have to, like if I miss it and go home, like I'll be so mad at myself.
Yeah. No, and it's not even in like a self-sabotage way. It's just kind of like, oh my gosh, I didn't get my gains today, and I needed to, I wanted to sweat, I wanted to feel the drip coming down, you know, all those things, and it just doesn't feel right.
Exactly.
That's crazy. What is, you know, I guess you can say other ventures that you're kind of tackling on, and are there any? Is it just fitness, or are you doing other things? What's going on?
Something that I'm working on right now, I guess it is in relation to fitness. Like I really, really want to pursue and make my own supplement company.
Love it.
Yeah,
yes, girl.
I have like a lot of like ladies, I guess, come to me asking about questions like with like how do you gain weight and like how do you do this, and especially like weight gain is like a number one question because they see, I guess, like my journey. So I want to, like, my goal is to create like a supplement company that's kind of geared towards that niche. Yeah.
I think we spoke about it at the Do Your Part Celebrity Game, and I was like, I actually got my personal training certificate a couple of years ago, and I never put it into fruition because of my 9 to 5 and everything else I had going on for me and whatnot. What were kind of the challenges or anything that you had gone through just getting that certificate, but also pursuing it from the beginning and seeing how that went out? Like, were you reaching out to different gyms, or did someone come to you? Like, how did that go?
So when I first actually took the exam, because for the certificate you have to take like the theory and then the practical exam. When I first took the theory exam, I actually failed it, only by like very little, and I was like so mad at myself, obviously, but I was like, okay, I can't give up. So I studied again, and I retook it. But now looking back, like it was a lot of information to like learn from a book, like off the back, and like even if you don't have a lot of background in biology, because there's a lot of like knowing all the muscles, their names and everything, their functions. So I did fail the first time I did it, but I obviously passed, and I got my certification. So that was a struggle. And then like once you're certified, just getting clients is a struggle. Luckily I did, like my friend introduced me to the owner of my gym now, and even though like I had no experience, they like accepted me, which was really, really nice of them, and I've been able to grow there, so I've been there ever since I started. Wow. And I've learned so much from them. So Powered by Fitness in Scarborough. I've learned so much from them, like just being in that environment, and like so thankful for that. Yeah, but that was definitely a struggle in the beginning, trying to get my own clients and find where I want to train.
And I think, you know, like I haven't taken that full leap of faith yet, in sense of like pursuing fitness as a whole, but then I found the same thing. Like I have a couple of friends that are willing to, you know, pay me and get my training and whatnot, and I'm obviously kind of gearing towards a private like fitness trainer and whatnot, but I totally agree with you. Like it all starts somewhere, but again, that's where you got now. So
yes, exactly. Thank you.
I actually had looked online on social media. I remember this one post you spoke about. You're like, OG is not really like the original gangster. Like that's not what I'm trying to go for. Can you talk more about your Instagram handle or your name?
I came up with it like a long time ago. So it's OTtheOG. OT is like my nickname. It's always been my nickname because my full name is Ottillia, and OG are actually my initials. So my last name starts with G. So I just like, obviously like I know OG means different things to different people. So I just like used it and kind of just like a little bit of play on words. When I tell people that, like I don't know, I rather just look at it as just like original, like not anything with gangster or anything like that, but
Nice. And at this part, I want to kind of dive into some fun stuff. So I'm going to talk about some favorites or like this or that, and then whatever it is that comes out of your mouth first, I guess we're going with.
Okay, sounds
good. Let's start off with your favorite travel destination. And I know you've been around a lot.
It has to be Bali. I just came back from Bali, and I've been like a lot of places. So I would say my top 2 are Bali and Amsterdam. For Bali, like everything was like the scenery, everything was beautiful. The people were amazing. Like everyone was like really keen on like great customer service. Like you could tell that they really loved like where they're from and like their culture. It was like a really, really beautiful place. I would recommend anyone to visit Bali if they could.
I really want to go there.
For sure. And I just love Amsterdam. It was so cool. Like it's so hip and different. Like I really like Amsterdam too.
A lot of people say it's somewhat similar to Toronto in a way, but then in its own like
it's like
vibe.
A European Toronto.
Got it.
I guess.
Oh, that's cool. I have actually met a friend in Miami who's from there, and she's like, come by anytime time. I was like, okay, I gotta go now because I want to definitely check that out.
Yeah, for sure, you should. It's really nice. Yeah.
So 2 things: favorite food and favorite junk food. So your cheat
meal.
Oh
my gosh. Okay. Favorite food, I like Thai food, like the curries, like the green curries, all of that. I really, really like Thai food.
Pad Thai.
All of that. I like it spicy too.
Yes.
And favorite junk food, is that not considered junk food? No.
Somewhat. I mean, any like things that you love to like binge on or snack on?
I like cereal a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, like a really, really good cereal. Like not like the super, super sweet ones, but I really like cereal.
Any favorite cereals?
So it's funny because like my favorite cereal is probably not even considered like a junk cereal. It's like a granola. It's like a cluster, but it's so good. It's called like Morning Crunch or something like that.
I know what you're talking about. Morning Crisp.
Morning Crisp. Yeah, I really like it.
I love that one too. The berries.
Yes, the chocolate one, the dark chocolate. So
fire.
that's also another favorite. Like dark chocolate is like my favorite. I wouldn't even consider it junk because it's like good for you. 70% or more.
So you're like, I don't know if it actually is junk, but yeah. What's your favorite motto or quote that you live by?
This is like also in like my profile, and I do live by this. Be your best self and live your best life. So it's something that I kind of remind myself every day, like in terms of being your best self, obviously not just like with the physical and like working out and taking care of yourself, but like how you treat other people, like what the impression that you leave on other people, and live your best life. Like if I have the opportunity in next week to go pick up and go and travel, and I'm going to take it, like, you know, so.
And as you should, like, and again, I've seen you travel to multiple places the past year, and it's amazing that you're celebrating yourself.
Yeah.
A huge part of travel is celebrating yourself, but also being able to get out there and get a different perspective on life, because you're in Toronto, you're constantly going. This is the work, this is the grind, this is the same scenery until you step out of your comfort zone. You're in a different place completely. Speaking of which, I saw you eat some crickets. Tell me about that experience.
Oh, yes. So that was actually the night of my birthday.
Yes.
I went to Thailand with my friend, and we were on like, I forget what it's called. It's like a famous road in Phuket, and they have like all the attractions there. Yeah. So I guess it was really late. Like I feel like it was like almost 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. and like there was a lady selling crickets out of her cart. Like not only crickets, there was like different assortment of like critters and bugs. And my friend just dared me. She's like, try one. She's like, come on, it's your birthday. Like you only live once. Meanwhile, I know she would have never done it, but I'm like, sure, like let's do it. And it didn't even taste that bad.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
So people were like,
crunchy,
people were so grossed out on my story, like, ew, like how could you do it? Like it had literally like no taste. Like all I tasted was like the sweetening that she put on it, and it was just crunchy.
I would want to try it.
Yeah,
eventually.
Why not?
One
just
of these days.
Yeah.
Well, obviously these exercises have their benefits of their own. However, do you prefer squatting or deadlifting more?
Oh my. Okay, I would say squatting right now at the moment, but I have it might change. Like right now, squatting is something that I feel like I'm really working on more than my deadlift. And it feels so good when I'm able to like squat a weight that I wasn't able to do before. But also the deadlift, same kind of concept, being able to pick something up, something really super heavy that you weren't able to pick up before. But I would say squat for now. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're both obviously such a technical exercise in itself, and it requires thinking. It requires mental like prep and whatnot, and it's not easy. So kudos to you, and I've seen all your PRs and PBs and all that you've hit, so that's amazing. Is there a favorite workout that you have in particular? Workout or specific exercise?
Hip thrusts.
Okay.
I love hip thrusts, and like I love playing around with it. Exactly. Booty gains. So like I love like doing like the single leg hip thrust, or like even like when you're on the ground, it's like a glute bridge, but like using like a bench or something instead of like lying on a bench.
Take
so
notes,
putting your
people,
foot.
take notes.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to do it. So love it. Love to play around with it.
Love it. We obviously spoke a little bit about your story and in the beginning and things that happen in your family. Who inspires you, or what is it that inspires you?
It has to be my grandma. She is 88 years old this year, and like she is still going. She lives by herself. She just does so much for us, like for her family. Like that's really what fulfills her and makes her happy. Like literally even before coming here today, I was at my grandma's house because she makes like Sunday lunch for us. So
I saw that she made you some food
so she's always trying to like make me food. So she just inspires me. Like when I grow up, I just want to be like a grandma like her, like just taking care of like everyone, and like so selfless. Like she never, even though she's tired, like she just does so much. Yeah, she's like a superwoman. Yeah.
And how do you feel you inspire? This is always such a tricky question because sometimes people aren't sure what it is exactly, or they, you know, but is there something that you think stands out about yourself that allows you to inspire other people?
I think it's maybe just the vulnerability, like the comfort in like allowing myself to be myself.
Yes.
Because before I was doing what I'm doing now, I feel like maybe like I was just putting on a face and acting like I was okay with what I was doing when I was working in an office, but like now I'm like completely fulfilled with what I'm doing, and it's like I'm so passionate about it that it's like I don't have to try, you know. And like I think that like even like when I'm with a client, they could see how excited I am for their workout, and then they just get excited and inspired. So I feel like maybe that's what it is, like the passion I have for what I love doing right now.
And I kind of want to tie back to my fun stuff, but what's your favorite self-care practice? Like what is something that you do that brings you back?
Right.
Yeah.
So working out by myself is always like one of them. It's obvious.
Yes.
But another one, I really like reading and like just like being alone and reading. So like I have like that app, the Audible, where you just are able to like listen to audiobooks, because sometimes we can't like sit down and like actually open up a book, and it's like really good. So like I'll just be in my kitchen like prepping my food and like listening.
Literally
to, like,
me, on a Monday.
Audible, right? Exactly.
Yeah, in your ears, the headphones, or even just having it out loud and you're doing your stuff.
And like for a long time, I didn't realize that self-care is like so much more than just like the gym.
Preach, girl.
Yeah.
It really is. Like it's your daily practices. It's things that you kind of implement in your life that make you feel better, and kind of bring you back to where you need to be. What's next for you? I know we spoke a little bit about that earlier, but are there any specific ventures that you kind of want to share that are happening?
Aside from just like continuing to grow my brand, I want to keep doing like more like fitness workshops and bigger like fitness boot camps, and I want to do something where like I'm able to like have like a little bit of a talking component before or after like the workout, because I did something like that recently with Jack Flash.
Yes.
And it was like, it literally like after that day I was on a high. It was really like I found like, you know what, this is what I want. Like I like the fact that we all got to talk.
Like, yes, bringing a community together, but
and it was like so much more than a workout. Yes. Because like we kind of got to talk and like got to know each other's stories, and then like we worked out, and then like it felt so good after, right? So that for sure, and just continuing to work on like growing as a person. Just everything that happened in my past, I feel like it's a lot that I'm still processing and dealing with, and like finding different ways to like, you know, other than the gym, finding different avenues to like release my stress or my emotions.
And people don't realize, again, everybody's going through their own challenges. There's a lot of things that are happening behind, you know, the camera or behind social media and whatever else is going on with your life. And it's huge, like being able to find that in yourself and overcome these traumatic challenges or these experiences that you've gone through. And it's like, how am I going to make it the next day? How am I going to go and train that client? Or how am I going to feel okay the next day? So again, congratulations on everything that you've been doing. I'm so excited to see all that's coming your way, and you're obviously well on your way to getting your goal weight and everything that you want. And I'm so proud of you for the time that I've known you. Like, so many things that you've brought so much positivity and inspiration to my life, which is why I was like, I got to bring you on the show, and I want to talk to you more about that. Thank you so much for your time again and for sharing everything.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to drink some tea together all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Cheers. I like we're running out of water.